There's no shortage of theories and questions concerning the incredibly popular Predator films. From the alien's true nature to the future of the franchise, here are facts about the Predator series that aren't really facts at all. To begin with, one thing to know about predators is that they're not really predators. It sounds confusing, but it's true. It's even pointed out directly by the biologist Casey Brackett, played by Olivia Munn in The Predator.
It hunts people for sport.
Technically, it's not a predator. It's like kind of a...
Thank you.
After all, while Predator is a great name for a movie about an alien who comes to Earth just to kill people, that doesn't mean it's technically accurate as a label for the creature. In the natural world, a predator is a creature that kills another organism for food. That last bit is important. Predators, as in actual Earth animals in nature, kill because they need to eat. In contrast to predators who appear in the sci-fi franchise of the same name, kill for sport or to prove their own prowess as hunters, something that appears to be highly valued in their culture. The predators don't eat their kills, they just skin them, hang them upside down, and sometimes remove their skulls and spines to wave around triumphantly. They don't want meat, they want trophies. By definition, they're not predators. That said, for the sake of clarity, we're still going to call them predators. If you haven't seen the Predator movies, or if you just haven't paid that much attention, it makes sense to believe that there's one primary predator throughout the franchise. After all, the titles for every film except one, 2010's Predators, are singular. There's a Predator, and in 2018 he was the Predator. Of course, none of that is true. The main predator, when there is one, dies in literally every movie. The title creature of 1987's Predator blows himself up with a self-destruct device after being grievously wounded by Dutch Schaefer, played by Arnold Schwarzenegger. The urban hunter of Predator 2 is killed in battle with Mike Harrigan, played by Danny Glover. All of the predators in Predators are taken down by their intended prey. And the oversized, genetically hybridized creature at the center of the Predator is taken down by that movie's central characters as well. The thing about predators, of course, is that there are always more of them. Furthermore, it's pretty clear at this point that hunting humans, presumably alongside other sentient creatures from around the galaxy, is a cherished tradition on their planet. So they're just going to keep doing it, no matter how many die trying. Particularly with the first and most beloved film in the series, some of the franchise's most iconic imagery comes from the Predator's point of view, showing Schwarzenegger and other cast members in bright colors that represent the intensity of their body heat as the creature hunts them through the dense jungle. This has led some viewers to mistakenly think that the Predator species has actually evolved to see with thermal imaging. If you pay attention, however, it becomes pretty clear that this infrared imaging is technological and contained in the lenses of the Predator's masks. In Predator 2, the extraterrestrial hunter has multiple vision modes he can switch between. And while we never see that happen in the original film, it's hard to deny that the otherworldly villain here must have other forms of vision as well. For example, how could he so easily avoid all the traps set for him by the commandos if all he can see is heat? Plus, in the fantastic scene where he first takes his mask off, we watch as his vision completely changes, with the infrared disappearing from sight. It's not just the predators who die and are replaced for every movie. Of the 6 Predator movies released to date, the 2 AVP movies, not a single installment features a returning human character from a previous movie. After more than 3 decades of that same formula, it starts to look like none of the movies are really connected at all. The 2 most recent installments in particular seem to bear the hallmarks of franchise reboots. Predators, spoiler alert, moves the action from Earth to an alien planet, while the Predator has a new military-based story and a title distinguished from the first movie only by the article The. Of course, this isn't the case for either sci-fi flick. Aside from the more complicated AVP installments, each Predator movie establishes that the previous films did indeed happen, even if the events have been classified so that most people don't know about them. In Predator 2, government agent Peter Keyes, played by Gary Busey, discusses the events of the first movie. In Predators, the characters of Isabel, played by Alice Braga, recognizes the predators from a description of the events of the original Predator. In The Predator, the events of the first 2 movies are discussed and further confirmed as real by the presence of Sean Keyes, the son of Peter Keyes from Predator 2, who's played by Gary Busey's actual son, Jake. Whatever character he's playing, Arnold Schwarzenegger tends to be regarded as the ultimate badass, and not without reason. His godlike physique and apparent strength have placed him on a level above other action heroes, especially in the 1980s. It was a time when superhero physiques weren't as widespread in movies as they've become in the era of cinema today. So it makes perfect sense when Schwarzenegger's Dutch survives the deaths of his teammates in Predator and has a final showdown with the alien creature all on his own. He's basically Earth's champion in that moment, and he's fighting for us all. But contrary to what you might think, he's not the only human to defeat a Predator in single combat. In Predator 2, Danny Glover's Mike Harrigan single-handedly takes down a Predator of his own, and his win might have been even more impressive. The other Predators certainly seem to think so.
You don't know what you're dealing with.
After the death of Peter Keyes, who thought he had the Predator's number and was quickly proven wrong, Harrigan and the titular alien are left on their own. However, Harrigan manages to sever one of the creature's arms, robbing it of its self-destruct mechanism. He then follows the Predator into an underground spaceship and defeats it with its own blade. Other Predators appear and carry off the dead body, and their leader then honors Harrigan's prowess by giving him an antique gun that it had apparently taken on a previous hunt. Few sequels are as commonly maligned as Predator 2. It came in fourth at the box office on its opening weekend, was critically panned, and later installments in the franchise were celebrated for ignoring it. It's not a classic like its predecessor, and there's a good chance you haven't even seen it. If that's the case, go watch Predator 2 and decide for yourself, because it actually has a lot going for it. It's a clear and deliberate departure from the first movie, but that's a better choice than trying to duplicate the original. Predator had jungle action pretty well covered, so Predator 2 brought its titular alien hunter to the streets of downtown Los Angeles. What's more, it's a near-future Los Angeles, in which gangs rule the city, cops barely stand a chance, and everybody's guns still shoot bullets but they're weirdly big and chunky looking. The aforementioned Danny Glover is the hero, as different from Arnold Schwarzenegger as an action star could be. In fact, it's ultimately Glover's performance as a detective who simply won't quit no matter what he's up against that makes Predator 2 something of an underrated gem. In Predator, the captured rebel Anna, played by El Padilla Carrillo, is the only survivor besides Schwarzenegger's Dutch. In Predator 2, the hunter corners Detective Leona Cantrell, and then decides not to kill her. It also spares an unnamed woman at the site of a massacre in a drug lord's penthouse. In Alien vs. Predator, the central predator actually befriends Lex Woods, played by Sanaa Lathan, and worked with her to defeat the aliens. Isabel survives Predators, and Casey Brackett survives the Predator. So what's the deal? Do Predators not kill women? The truth is that, in theory, they might, but these movies don't really have enough women for them to kill. Predators don't necessarily care about gender. They just don't kill unarmed people. It also seems that they don't kill pregnant people, which is why Detective Cantrell is spared. The drug lord's girlfriend also falls under the unarmed rule. There's also very few female action heroes in these movies, so it would have been a bummer for audiences to see them slaughtered. Anna and Isabel are literally the only female characters in their respective films, and Cantrell is just about the only woman in Predator 2 who's not a drug lord's unclothed girlfriend, so killing them would have just seemed really dark. At the end of the day, what also keeps the Predators from killing women is the narrative choices of these movies. As part of the gadget-filled techno-armor they prefer to wear when hunting humans, each Predator has a metal face mask that they generally don't lose until the final showdown, when it's time to give the heroes and the audience a good look at that creepy, mandibbled face. Because Predators show up to Earth wearing this mask and don't usually take it off until shortly before they die, a lot of people assume that the mask is what enables them to breathe in Earth's atmosphere. If you pay attention, however, that's clearly not the case. The first Predator does without a mask for a long time while fighting Dutch in the jungle, and he seems to breathe just fine. In Predator 2, the creature is seen breathing through another device after losing his mask, but we don't know exactly why. Maybe Los Angeles' famous smog is too much for him. This same movie establishes that Predators breathe the same air as humans, however, because Harrigan can breathe inside their spaceship, even when interacting with an unmasked extraterrestrial. The same thing is true of the alien planet in Predators. The humans can breathe there just fine, and so can the unmasked hunters. There's no doubt the mask provides copious tools to aid a predator's survival, starting with that famous thermal vision, but a breathing apparatus is not one of them. Released in 2018, The Predator was only a middling success at the box office, and it was widely panned by critics. These days, however, it takes a lot more than a bad installment or two to kill a sci-fi action franchise. Like the Predators themselves, the franchise just keeps getting up and coming for its prey. In this case, moviegoers. In fact, the next movie is already in production. It's currently being called Skulls, but is likely to be retitled something with the word Predator in it before release. The upcoming installment will star Amber Midthunder of Legion as a Comanche woman who wants to be a warrior and eventually encounters a predator in the 19th century. 10 Cloverfield Lane director Dan Trachtenberg is helming the movie, so it should at least be interesting. And if it doesn't work, that will be disappointing, but it will unlikely be the end. Surely the predators will keep returning to their favorite hunting ground, Earth's movie screens. Check out one of our newest videos right here, plus even more Looper videos about your favorite films are coming soon. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell so you don't miss a single one.